Preparation doesn't seem necessary until you're actually using it. It doesn't feel necessary for you to read your word. It doesn't feel necessary to deny temptation and deny lust. It doesn't feel necessary to do the little things, cut off scrolling, cut off entertainment, all of these different things to become the man that God is calling you to be, because it's all preparation. You will not know how it's being used. And that's why we have to lean on God. We have to trust God, because that's exactly why the word says we walk by faith and not by sight, because we have to trust and have faith that the preparation of not giving into temptation, the preparation of working on something that doesn't produce immediate results, cutting off certain things, are worth doing. Have to see the worth of something that isn't seen yet. And this personally happened in my life when I had to choose between choosing the world and going the world's way or choosing God's way. I remember having this conversation, literally conversation with God. Like, God, why are you calling me to cut off all of these different things? Why am I getting so convicted about this? Why is this so bad? I see so many other people doing it. Why do you want me to be different? And I said this because there's so many signs that God was telling me to cut off certain things, like just random videos popping up at my exact situation. And then there's someone at my job who pulled up and said, you need to cut off this certain temptation that you're going through because God is going to use you for something special. And so I really started asking God, why me? I don't want to cut off these things. It's pleasurable. But in that moment, I didn't see that God was preparing me for where I am right now. I didn't understand that I would be able to help other people. I didn't understand that I would be in a relationship that I would have to lead. If I was still struggling with lust, if I was still trying to be part of this world, then I wouldn't be able to help the people that God has called me to help, called me to lead. Because honestly, I didn't feel too different. I didn't feel like I'd be helping a whole bunch of people. I didn't even understand how that would be possible in my life. And so therefore, the preparation didn't seem necessary. And I didn't feel that urgency enough for me to say, hey, I don't want to do this no more. But because I just got curious and decided, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to put you first. Started being curious about who he was, seeking him daily, and then getting rid of those temptations. That's when, right after that, that's when God started to bless me. As soon as I had that encounter with Christ, I literally just started getting really, really convicted, maybe like 3 to 4 months later. I just started getting really, really convicted just to share my testimony, help others, help my friends to get closer to God. That encounter that I was looking for God, like actually experiencing him, to know that he's real for myself, I finally felt that. So I had a different level of faith now. And so temptations wasn't getting the best of me. My struggle with lust for 7 years wasn't getting the best of me. And so because of all of this, I started growing closer to God. And then I just wanted to share my faith. I first started in my Snapchat private story, just helping a few people, a few of my friends, then started on actual social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And then I just started to grow. And then after a year and a half of being free from pornography, that is when God blessed me with a relationship. Now I'm blessed to be in a situation where I can lead, where I can be in a godly relationship. Now, if I was still struggling with lust, if I was still in the world, I would never be in the position I'm in right now. This is why I urge every last one of you to get rid of the temptation, get rid of the lust, get rid of the distractions that are keeping you away from God's purpose, because it's much more meaningful. If you're still feeling like you're stuck in a cycle of temptation and you know that you're called to be bigger, make sure you watch this video to the end. Cut off all the distractions. Put your phone on D&D. Actually take out a notebook and write notes down, because this video can absolutely change your life if you just lock in. This is exactly why I created Refined Mindset. Now, if you don't know what Refined Mindset is, this is my program. It's my business that I help people grow closer to God and become the man that God has called them to be. Get rid of lust, get rid of the temptations, get rid of laziness. I work closely with everybody with apps, modules, and then a customized dashboard specifically tailored toward your specific situation, whatever you're struggling with, whether that be discipline in the gym, whether that be getting inside your word every single day, whether that just be unfocused and then not being productive, whatever that is, I make sure that I tailor that towards you so you can become the best version of yourself. Now, in this video, I want to help you prepare. Help you have that faith so you can prepare to be the person that God has called you to be. Get rid of the temptations, laziness, distractions, whatever it is. So if you really want to become the man that God has called you to be, the first step to do that is awareness. What exactly are you struggling with, and why are you struggling with that? What is keeping you away from the destiny that God has for you? If that's lust, then you have to get of the root of that. If it's laziness, you have to get of the root of that. And even if it's like distractions, focusing, you have to get to the root of that. At first in my life, I didn't realize that how much focus is important and how much intentionality it takes, how much systems in place it takes to continue to be focused. I didn't understand that. I thought focus and overcoming lust was something you just, change your mind from, and then you just, overcome it. No, it takes system, it takes intentionality to overcome it. And so that's why you have to be aware of it first, because when you become aware that you need to have a system behind it, then your mind will naturally figure out what you need to do to overcome it. Because discipline isn't just a turn on and turn off, but you just don't turn on discipline and be like, I want to be disciplined now, so I'll be disciplined. In that case, everybody would be disciplined, because people want to be disciplined. They just don't know how to specifically do it in their life. And this was something one of my clients was struggling with, Josiah. I'm gonna pull it up right quick, exactly what he said, because it just shows you how important it is to have a system behind everything that you want to do.
A couple weeks back, I messaged Christian and saying, hey, I want to be more disciplined because I was struggling with my weight a lot. I was like addicted to food, and I was like, I can't do this. So I messaged him. We talked a little bit. We had a call. Showed me Refined Mindset, and he's like, I'm starting this up. He showed me how to grow from there. There was like a 5-step program, and what I really liked about it, it wasn't like just be disciplined, just be disciplined. Discipline is everything. Like discipline is everything, but like how do you do that? And that's the best part about Refined Mindset, is that it teaches how to be disciplined step by step, all filtered through a biblical lens. I was probably like 189 when I texted him. I'm like 174 last time I checked. Gained a lot of muscle. Also learned how to like overcome lust. Also learned how to build good habits, like waking up, reading my Bible, and praying. I've learned how to have good habits and keep those good habits, and how those habits like help you. Anyway.
So yes, if you want to become the man that God has called you to be, figure out what's hindering you from stepping into your destiny, whether that be procrastinating, whether that be lust, whether that be emotional control, or whatever that is. Make sure you become aware of it, get to the root of it, and then that is when you'll start to take action. And number 2, training your mindset, training your discipline. This is how you fall in love with the painful things, the things that are painful that produce purpose. What I talked about in the beginning of the video, there were so many times in my life where I would be preparing for things like waking up early, or even taking cold showers and doing push-ups, or going to practice when I didn't want to, or going to school when I didn't want to, doing all these things that didn't feel necessary at the time, but now I understand why I had to do them, like deny temptation. I understand why it's important to be celibate and wait till marriage, because I've trained my mindset to do the hard things and even deny cravings, certain cravings that I had, and start treating my temple right. Whether I eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. Doing all of these different things that a lot of people may not see as necessary. But once you train your mindset to do the hard things, that's when it becomes easier to do. You start to enjoy denying temptation. You start enjoying to win the battles over yourself, because you realize it's a battle against you. It's a battle against you versus you. And so you want to kill the weaker version of yourself. You don't want to continue to go back into temptation. You want to become the man that God has called you to be for your future wife, or whatever that is. And so this is really the meaning behind Refined Mindset, because there's a verse in Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 48. It says too that God refines us not like silver and gold, but through fire, through the furnace of affliction, meaning he takes us through trials and tribulations so that we can get fire. Well, we can put ourselves through painful situations that produce purpose, that refine our mindset and refine our heart. Instead of learning from tribulation, we can just learn from revelation. And so every hard thing that comes across you, you have to train your mind to say, I want to do the hard thing. I don't want to sleep in. Even though I feel very, very tired, I want to wake up. I want to push through that tiredness. I want to wake up and go work out, or wake up and read the word and spend time with God. I want to do the hard thing. Jesus woke up early before the sunrise and went to go spend time with God. Me personally, I used to think that was almost impossible. Like I couldn't wake up and do that. Like Jesus is too good for me. I couldn't wake up early and do that. No, I want to become as close as Jesus as possible. Of course, I can't be perfect, but he is the example that we should want to follow, the standard that we should take on, because Jesus literally lived this out. Whatever the will of the Father was for his life, he was willing to do it, no matter how much pain he had to go through, no matter how uncomfortable it was. You have to be willing to do the same Number 3, remove and replace anything that you may be struggling with. So if for example, this was one of my clients, his name is Jordan. He's absolutely killing it. He was struggling with lust, and he was going back maybe after 2 or 3 weeks of overcoming temptation, and then end up going back, like stuck in a constant cycle of staying good, stopping for a while, and then going back to it after a while.
Some things I've learned in the community since I've been in the community has been that the only way to be free from any bad habits or things that are not of the Father, not of the Most High, is to seek the Most High with all your heart and with all your soul. And what does that look like? Because before I knew that, but I didn't know what that looked like putting that into daily actions, fully submitting to him, giving him all of my day, constantly thinking about him. The content that I consume being only something that glorifies the Father, making sure that I'm not listening to any lustful or worldly music, not watching certain movies, TV shows. And that becomes a lifestyle. It's not something you just do so that you stay out of bad habits and lust and for a temporary period of time and then you go back to that. That's the problem that I had before, was thinking that I could go back to those things and just watch them. No, it's like, no, this is your lifestyle. You shouldn't be watching that. It doesn't get you closer to the Father. It doesn't help you on your walk. It doesn't help you at all. So you just have to there's freedoms that exist within boundaries.
The number one thing that he wasn't doing in his life is he had open doors that he wasn't aware of. And because he was good for like 2 to 3 weeks, he would get complacent after those 2 to 3 weeks. Like the messages he was watching online wasn't hitting as well. He wasn't getting as convicted. He was basically slipping up on boundaries, slowly getting dragged back into temptation. And he never removed the root and replaced the root with fruit. So yes, if you want to overcome temptation, you have to remove and replace whatever is causing you to fall into temptation. Of course, you're asking, like, how do I know what I need to cut off? Well, just cut off anything that may be a hindering block. That's exactly what I did. I was listening to secular music. I didn't think that was affecting me that much. How does music cause me to get more intrusive thoughts? How does music cause me to lust? I didn't know. I just was willing to cut it off because I was somewhat convicted about it. Same thing with gaming. I'm like, how does gaming, cause me to give in to temptation? But all of this is preparation. It's preparing me for my destiny. Just remove both of those things, remove everything that was a hindering block, even my friends, and just replaced it with the word and my purpose, finding out what my passion is, what I wanted to do in life. That brings me to the next step, which is building my identity. I had to build my identity, not do this just to get a specific result, but doing this because this is who I am. Because if you just remove a whole bunch of things and you don't plan on being consistent with them, you'll continuously think about going back. So the main thing building your identity does is it changes your intention. You don't just work out anymore just to get a good body. You work out because you're a disciplined person. That's who you are. You don't just read the word just because you want to get closer to God or because you want to overcome temptation. No, you do it to get to know God and because you have a relationship with him and you know you do. And this allows you to be consistent and have this mindset where you're really hard on yourself, but you still give yourself a whole bunch of grace. And then lastly, if you want to become that man that God has called you to be, you have to be urgent. You have to have faith that your time is coming, that you are basically up next, that you are called to do something greater, and there's something on the other side as long as you continue to stay faithful. That's why the word says, don't go weary of doing good, because in due season you will reap a harvest. If I literally would have waited one more year of continuously staying in the temptation, I might have missed out on a blessing. I may have missed out on a relationship, may have missed out on a ministry. And so you have to have faith that you're called to something higher. And that also adds on to your identity. And that urgency can also be built by fear of going to hell, fear of missing out, whatever it is. Whatever it takes for you to be urgent, you need to meditate on that every single day. This is the broken down system that I use inside of my program with tools that help you build those habits tailored towards your specific situation. This has been so effective in so many of my clients' lives, and I know that if you apply this and use this in your everyday life, you can change your life as well. So many people want the blessings, the things of God, but until you become the person that God has called you to be, who deserves those blessings, who can steward those blessings, then God won't be able to give it to you. And so make sure you are applying this to your life. Make sure you're using these 5 steps in your day-to-day life to become urgent and become the man that God has called you to be. If you need that extra support, if you need that extra guidance, click the link in the description to book a call with me so that I can walk with you on this journey, help you overcome any temptation you're struggling with, overcome laziness, and just become more disciplined in the gym with spirituality, physically, mentally, spiritually, in every aspect of your life. So yes, I hope this video edified you. Appreciate y'all for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you want to support, the link is also down below. If not, till next time, as usual, y'all stay blessed.